So what's up, y'all? I'm sure y'all can already tell what this video gonna be about, you know what I mean? Just from the title, whatever. And so, I'm gonna get right into it, So December 18th is when I started back meditating. I had stopped meditating, for probably about a year or so. And then when I would meditate, it would be like really far in between. I really wouldn't meditate like that. And so December 18th, it was just a lot of shifts going on in my world and stuff like that. A lot of stuff had, humbled me a lot, slowed me down a lot, and so I was able to really, be in the space of, of just a more calm and surrendering space, to where I felt like, I was comfortable enough to really go into meditation and actually sit in meditation. And so, I'll say, December 18th, I meditated. December 17th, I meditated for probably about 10 minutes. And I actually sat in the meditation. So I'm like, man, 10 minutes. I said, I could probably do about 20 minutes. And so the following day, I said, okay, let me do 20 minutes. I thought I was going to do, but I said, let's take it up to 25 minutes. And so I did 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And so I was sitting in my meditation, and all of a sudden my body just got to swaying back and forth, it was just swaying back and forth. And I'm like, kind of got freaked out by it. But someone was just like, it's okay, just surrender, it's all right, And so I just said, okay, surrender, let it go. And so I just kept rocking, and then my head would start moving and stuff like that. After that, I'm like, man, I was so wild by it. So the next day I meditated again and was doing it again. And so that following day, I don't think I had meditated, and I had stopped meditating, for that moment, probably for about 3-4 days. And then I went back and meditated again, and it was doing it again, and it was doing it even more. And so I did a lot of research and stuff like that, and it was basically saying that, you basically going through a Kundalini Awakening, and, and when that snake that is coiled at the base of your spine, which is, represents divine feminine energy, your creative energy, your life force, and it's coiled at the base of your spine. And when it starts to wake up, it starts to, try to go through the blockages within the body. It's trying to reach the crown chakra to activate. And so your body go through these movements because it's not used to the power from this happening, and it's not used to it, and so the body is reacting to it, and it's almost like, turning on a water hose, but the water hose got a lot of kinks in it, like it's just tied up, and then when you turn it on, it's going to do all this and stuff like that to try to, exit the hose. And so that's kind of what it's like when your snake, when the snake begins to uncoil and it tries to go up through the chakra system and reach the crown. It's gonna kind of operate as if you was turning on a hose, and it wants to try to exit, but it's trying to get through all the blockages and the knots. And so that's initially, what was happening with me. And so I ended up, basically having a Kundalini Awakening. It went from subtle swaying and movements to, really dramatic movements. I'm talking about heads going around and body shaking, but you can, refer to my previous video on that one. And so, yes. And so while I was going through these, these movements and just this deep meditation and this Kundalini Awakening, so much has begun to change in my inner world. Like, I became very calm. I became very present in the moment. Like, everything that I began to do, it was like I was truly engaged in what I was doing. Became very mindful, and just very aware. It was times where I would just lay around and I would be having these movements and stuff like that, and so it went from that, to me being very calm and just very light. Almost felt like I was just floating, and it was just like, all worries was just like obsolete. Like, I was just really in the flow and just really in peace, and it's been like that ever since. And so, like I said, it went from that subtle swaying, the violent shaking, and then it calmed all the way down. And you see, when you actually surrender and you allow it to happen, the movements and stuff like that, and you don't suppress it, and you allow it, because it's ultimately cleansing you and trying to unblock, wherever there's blockages, and it's trying to reach the top and activate so you can, step into your higher self and your true purpose, and and just really gain a lot of knowledge about yourself, and your soul mission and stuff like that. And so what was I saying? And so I went through that, and so it went from that to the violent shaking, and then I started going into doing light codes, light codes, light language, which is also known as intuitive sign language. And so, the intuitive sign language and the light codes and stuff like that is just, the codes of the universe, and it's tied to the Akashic records, your lifetime library, just your life experiences, everything you have went through, or ever experienced on a soul level throughout many lifetimes. And so, initially this is what it's all about, and so you start to tap into your higher self. When you have that Kundalini awakening and it activates the crown chakra, you are fully engaged with your higher self, and your higher self begins to come through. You begin to be able to be in a position to merge with the higher self or come in direct contact. And so what the higher self does is to use these light codes and light languages and, intuitive sign language to speak to you and try to, communicate to you and, get you to understand certain things about your life, about your past, or where you're headed, stuff like that. And so I started doing the light codes, the light language, intuitive sign language. And it started off as just hand gestures, like now the light codes could be anything from hand gestures, facial expressions, sounds, words, drawing, writing, anything like that. You can have all kind of different wide ranges of, how it speaks to you. But, when it speaks to you, it's going to be something that's kind of like you can relate to. And so when I began to do the hand movements and stuff like that, it was kind of easy for me to kind of decode what it was saying, because when I talk, I always use my hands. And, for the most part, this is where we come from that. We use hands and telepathy and stuff like that, and when we wasn't using words. And so, but for the most part, this is what I mainly use. My hands, I'm always talking, I'm always doing this. So when I started doing that and it started happening on its own, it was easy for me to kind of understand what it was saying. Now a lot of people will say, don't try to force the understanding of what the codes is meaning. If it's not coming natural to you, the meaning, then don't try to force a meaning and stuff like that. But this is what happened to me, and, I started understanding what it was saying, and it was speaking to me about my life and, the type of person I am. And, it was saying a lot, and spoke a lot about my family. And, I went from that, doing the light codes and stuff like that, to actually reading into people's past lives and current lives and things of that nature. It really started to really take off, And so ultimately, a Kundalini awakening is a good thing. It's something that shouldn't be necessarily forced, especially if you haven't done any previous shadow working and stuff like that, because it can begin to get scary or violent, shaking and stuff like that if you are truly blocked. I don't recommend you go trying to force a Kundalini awakening. It's way more better when it happened naturally. Like I say, I wasn't meditating, and all of a sudden I just started back meditating, and now I started having an awakening. And so it happens when it feels you're ready, or, when the time is right. I wouldn't force it, but many people do. Some come out fine, some come out wishing they hadn't forced it, and so, but it's a beautiful thing, man. It helps you tap into your creative energy, your feminine energy. It activates you, man. You come in contact with your higher self, and when people say, man, you gotta connect to your higher self and stuff like that, and meditate, this stuff, in the beginning it sounds real cliche, or like, it doesn't work. But man, I'm here to tell you, man, this really is a beautiful thing. And when you connect with your higher self, man, it's like really having, that true guy, who you are truly connected to. If you hear a voice in your head that say, don't do that, or you should do that, boom, boom. Imagine actually being connected to that person, which is your higher self, who got an extreme bird's eye view of your life, your soul mission, and what you are here to do. You know what I'm saying? And so they are here to help guide you through these, your life mission, and to help you align better with your soul's purpose and why you are here. And man, every time I go into meditation now, I'm in it. I'm reading people's past lives, just bringing up people coming from the dead, speaking. And I became so comfortable with it because, for the most part, I like new things, new experiences, even if it's something out of this world. I welcome all experiences because I just like new things, and so it was easy for me to adapt to it. And I always believe in stuff like that. And so, but I recommend truly, understanding or getting a grip on your higher self or yourself, doing the shadow work and really, meditating and getting to that so you can connect to your higher self, because it is a good guide, man. It's like having a personal GPS, who is actually your higher self. So it knows about your life experiences, it knows why you're here, it knows your purpose, and it can help guide you through these things, and you have direct contact instead of just getting those certain signs. Now, every time you go into meditation, here you are, you know, you're dealing with your higher self, and it's speaking and it's talking. Every time I go into meditation now, it's doing hand gestures, it's talking to me, it's speaking to me. If I might have done something wrong, it's gonna tell me, hey, you know, you did something wrong, and it's gonna do it in its own way and in a way that you're gonna be able to relate to it, and you're gonna be able to understand and interpret what it's saying, because it's gonna use things that relates to you and your style of communication and personality, you know. And so I just want to get on here and talk about my Kundalini Awakening experience, you know, and you know the beautifulness of it all, you know, you just at an extreme level of peace, calm, tranquility, understanding, mindful, in the present. Every time I go to do something, I'm truly engaged in what I'm doing, and it's just so at peace, and I'm just always in this meditative state, man, you know. And it's just, you know, and it can be a little downside of that, you know, because once you get to go out into this world, you know, it can kind of cause anxiousness. You know, you can become real restless because you're used to being in this state. But then when you have to go out and deal with the world, you know, it's a hard adjustment, you know, especially for me, because I had been off of work for 3 months, and it was all for this purpose, you know. But I had been off for 3 months and stuff like that. And so now going back into the world, actually having to be involved and back working again, you know, it's kind of a lot, or it's just kind of like, you know, you can feel the difference, you know, but you adjust, you know what I'm saying, over time. And so now I meditate twice a day. I make sure I stretch before I meditate. After you meditate, you stretch. I do some yoga, you know. And now I just want to be in that state all the time, you know. I just want to be connected to my higher self. And so I thank it, you know, I thank my higher self and stuff like that. It makes sure that it protects me, you know. It understands your thoughts and all that, man. You know, it's a beautiful thing, y'all, you know. And so I just initially wanted to make this video just to talk about my Kundalini Awakening, you know, and you know, the effects and stuff like that, and light codes and intuitive light languages and stuff like that. And you know, being connected to your higher self and directly is a beautiful thing, man, because you know, you can ask it questions, it can answer it for you. And you know, and being able to really come in contact with my gift of being able to read into people's past lives, and you know, knowing that it's real because of the confirmation that I get. You know, I read a lot of readings on my family and stuff like that, and you know, I know my family well, and so it's just confirmation, you know, and stuff like that, you know, and you know, it's you know, it's confirmation when you know what's going on around you. You know what I mean? You just know, like, wow. And so you know, to be able to come in contact with this gift, and you know, not knowing I had this ability, ultimately, you know, it's a beautiful thing. You know, seriously is, you know, I ended up healing my dad, you know, who passed away in 2020. You know, he had an addiction, you know, he, you know, drink a lot and stuff like that. And so, you know, and he died with a lot of childhood trauma and stuff like that, but I got a chance to heal him, you know, even though he had passed on. I got a chance to be, you know, heal him, you know, and stuff like that, man. And you know, to some people it may sound crazy, but this is going to be the new thing now. Just overall, you know, this is where we're going to. You know what I mean? We're going to the fifth dimension, new earth. There's going to be a lot of that, you know, type of stuff going on, and it's going to become the normal thing. You know what I mean? And so, you know, but I just want to come on here and talk about my Kundalini Awakening experience and stuff like that, and you know, how important it is to tap into your higher self and, you know, do the shadow work so you can connect to your higher self, and so you can be in a proper space to understand your higher self and be able to properly communicate with your higher self. And you got to get to know yourself so you can understand your style of communication and things of that nature. So when you do tap into your higher self, you will be able to interpret the messages and the things that you get through your own personal style of light coding or intuitive sign language that is, you know, given to you, or you know, coming through you, you know. And so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And so if there's anything that come up, you know, that I want to talk about, I definitely will, for sure. You know, I need to get back active, but you know, it's just one of them things, man, you know. But appreciate you guys for listening. If you have watched it all the way through, you know, hit the like, comment, whatever, you know. Sometimes if you put not made for kids or made for kids or something like that, it won't let you comment, and so it naturally turn the comments off. And so but you know, stuff like that. So I'm out of here, y'all. Peace out.